Welcome Facebook, welcome YouTube. Hope we're all good. Have we all had a lovely day? Lovely day. Hopefully you've all had a lovely day. Oh, hang on. I need to refresh that. So I was just checking my YouTube to make sure we've gone live. And yes, we have gone live. I was like, where is it? Oh no. And then I realised basically my weekly weight loss vlog that I put out before. I was like, why has it not been put out? Because I did it on my laptop in the lounge, and I was like, why has it not gone live on my computer? It has. Just needed to refresh it. Anyway, there we go. Welcome to Monday evening. I'm going to go relax mode for a minute. Have I brought a can in? I have. Get in. Iron Brew Extra. I think this is my favourite sugar-free drink at the moment. It is. Got to be ice cold, but when it's ice cold, it is such a good drink. Absolutely lovely. Right, I'm in comfort mode. I'm in chill mode. Let me put my desk down now. I've swung my legs over. I've done the Kenny Everett. Anyone that's under 35 is probably like, who the hell's Kenny Everett? Anyway, there you go. I've done it in the best possible taste. Anyway, there we go. How are we all? How's your Monday been? New weight loss week, new set of calories in the bank, step count 0. Have you nailed your Monday? I'm always a big advocate of start the week as we mean to go on, lay the foundation for a good weight loss week. How's your Monday been? Mine's been good. It's been really, really good. I did my weekly weight loss vlog before, and I talked about last week, and I don't feel I did great last week. In hindsight, I think I'm being a bit harsh on myself, which I don't mind because it keeps me on my toes. But then, in other words, if you are too harsh on yourself, it can affect your mentality. I am possibly being a little bit harsh on myself. And you know what? This sounds really well, I finished doing that vlog before, and I was like, am I being a bit harsh on myself? And then you get the doubts in your head. I still get them. Even now, I get the doubts in my head a little bit. Like, how well am I actually doing? Am I kidding myself? Blah, 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 blah. They still creep in here. And it's just mental health. It's just bad relationships with weight loss, the way we've been battered with things over the years. And do you know what I did? Straight away, I got up from this live, and there's a gilet, if you want to be posh, that I bought probably 3 or 4 years ago. 2021 winter, I bought it. I absolutely love it. It's a very, very expensive gilet. It didn't cost me anywhere near what it would cost now because prices have all gone up. But it was a few quid. All right. And I've not really been able to wear it for the last couple of years. I haven't. I'll hold my hands up. It's too small. It's not fit me. Chris, from winter 22, 23, 24, winter 22, the beginning of this year, February, March time, I did start wearing it again when I was on my big kick after Christmas this year and I was a bit of weight down. Today, I just went in and put it on, and it's baggy on me. It's actually verging possibly being a little bit big with a t-shirt on. If I had a hoodie on underneath, it would probably fit about right. So, just little things like that. And that's just me doubting myself a little bit. And it happens. It happens. It happens to me. I'm never, ever, ever going to sit here and claim to be perfect on my own journey, because I am not. I'm far from it, right? And I know we always say, there's no such thing as a perfect weight loss journey. But, you do get these people that just don't, that give all this weight loss advice and fat loss advice and food advice, and they don't practice what they preach. They genuinely don't. They paint this picture of perfection on social media, and in reality, they're just doing nowhere near what they preach. That'll never be me. I never want it to be me. Do you know? Right, let's go through the top 5 on TikTok. Callum's in at number 1, Kelly C's in at number 2, Lou's in at number 3, Anna's in at number 4, and Lynn is in at number 5. Lynn, if you're with your Georgia, will you tell her I will be doing her calories tomorrow morning? I've just forgotten today. She sent a form in over the weekend, And I was meant to do them today, and I just haven't done them today. And just apologise to her for me. And I will get them to her tomorrow. I just realised I was going through my email before, and I was like, oh, no. Like, I just had one of them days today. I've done loads. I've done loads today. I've been really, really productive, but there's still loads more that I need to do. But I'm not going to bother tonight. I'm literally doing this live. And I might even end this live a bit earlier tonight. Rachel's knackered. She's in the bath now. And she was just like, I just want to go to bed. And I was like, yeah, I'll probably get the live done for about 8:45, and I'll just come straight in and go to bed. I've had such a good day. 40 down steps today. Kelly C. That is amazing. Charlotte, good evening, Neil. Gaming Charlotte. Let's see who else is in. I'm really struggling to find my back to healthy due to my ADHD. What's it doing that's holding you back, Mags? So yeah, I'm really struggling to find my back to healthy, or to get back to being healthy. So give me a little bit more info about your journey. Where have you been? What's going on? Right, Ryan, evening boss, evening mate. Hope you are all good. Let me scan down. Have I missed anyone? I haven't missed anyone. I haven't. Yeah, so I've had a really good day today. Calorie wise, I've only eaten twice. I've only eaten twice. Someone asked me, we were talking about intermittent fasting this morning. And I was like, yeah, I don't label it. I've literally done today your like perfect 12-8 intermittent fasting. In a way, I suppose I haven't done a 12-8. I think I've done a 1/2-7 intermittent fast. I've only eaten twice. I've literally, and do you know what? I've eaten a bit of convenience, and I've not even eaten that healthy today. When I say that healthy, again, there's me labeling things, saying it's not healthy. I've eaten well within my calories. When I say healthy, I don't feel I've eaten things that's got loads. I've not had fruit and veg, basically. So I might actually eat something again. I've got one of them Pulitzer King cherries in the fridge. I think that's going to get nailed. Actually, yeah, I think I'll get tucked into that little badger. But yeah, I literally had the chicken tikka masala Slimwell. I've got 3 in the freezer. And I'm trying to clear my freezer out a little bit because I need to defrost my back freezer. So I've got 3 of them. So I had one of them with half a packet of rice and a blob of mango chutney for me dinner. 650 calories, something like that. And then for tea, I have had 7. No, I haven't. I've had 6 of the because I gave one to dogs. Of the 5% fat meatballs from Aldi, which is basically the 5% fat burgers, but just rolled up. And then I just used a Filippo Berio pasta sauce, which I don't buy it for this reason, right? I buy it because I quite like it. But if you are someone that's very conscious of additives, preservatives, stuff like that, the Filippo Berio pasta sauces have no additives, preservatives. It's literally tomatoes, olive oil, bit of veg, onion, garlic, tomato puree. That's it. So I just use one of those as the sauces, cook it down for about half an hour, very low heat. Fried off my meatballs, cook the sauce down for about half an hour, very low heat, with a lid on. And then added the meatballs back in, cooked it for another half hour on some spaghetti with a little bit of garlic bread. That's it. Those are the 2 things I have eaten today. Going to be low on the protein. 2 meals high in protein. One had about 60 grams of protein. One had about 50 odd. So I've had over 100 grams of protein. But for me personally, that's quite low in protein. That's it. That's all I've eaten today. So I've had about 1,600 calories, less than that, 1,500. So probably I'm going to eat something else actually today. Steps. Can't see it now. I don't know if you can. No, it turns itself off. 13,938 steps today. So by the time I've finished, a couple of bits to do around the house. I'm going to go. I'm not grabbed a shower yet. So when I'm going to go in and grab a quick shower, I'm probably going to be at about 14,200 steps. The steps, very good today. Calories, very good. More nutrition needed, but I might have a bit of fruit going in. But tomorrow I'll have more nutrition. Tomorrow. So yeah, just been a good day. Gone to the gym. Realised I have not done weights since. Did I do weights on Friday? No, I just did my spin class. So I've not done weights till Thursday. Love doing weights today. I was talking again about this. It might have been in the weekly weight loss vlog. Too much of a good thing can become a bad thing. And I've not, just lost it a little bit last week. In fact, I did weights on Thursday and quit after 24 minutes. So I've not actually done, I don't think I've done a proper weight session since last Tuesday. And I've gone in today and I've done 35 minutes of weights, 15 minutes cross trainer to finish off. Absolutely nailed it today. Trained great. So yeah, it's been a good day. It's been a good start to the week anyway. Just over 10,000 steps for me today, so an improvement for me. Sarah, absolutely amazing. And I know I've said I want you to work it, but remember that step progression plan, Sarah. We do not need to run before we can walk. I've asked you to increase your, and I never try and bring people. It's great. Sarah's motivation. She's just started on plan today. She's motivated. And just one thing that I picked, Sarah's got a good level of movement, right? Her exercise is fantastic. But I always like to give people a little target with calories. I like to give people some sort of target with movement. Just a couple of little things to focus on. So I asked Sarah just to bump her steps up a little bit. Remember, when we are increasing things, we're not doing it for today. We're not doing it for tomorrow, right? We're not doing it for next week. We're doing it for the rest of our lives. And this is why I'm very much give people a progression plan. Because to go from doing 5,000 steps in a day to suddenly doing 12,000 steps in a day is like, if 12,000 steps in a day was perfectly achievable and part of your life, you would be doing it already. There is a reason why we're only doing 5,000 at the moment. And there could be loads of different reasons. It could be mental health. It could be a physical disability. It could be just a mobility issue. It could be just a bit of honesty. It could just be because you're a bit lazy, right? But for whatever the reason, we need to just slowly catch a monkey. Now, again, I love the fact that Sarah's fully motivated and she's like, I want this, I'm on it. And Sarah's having a great journey this year anyway. She is at a different part of her journey compared to a lot of my clients that I take on. But it's just something I always have to mention. And I mentioned it on the live now, and Sarah won't mind me mentioning it because there are too many people. I'm not saying Sarah might be like, do you know what, Neil? You've just given me a wake-up call. I always used to do 10,000 steps a day. It's only the last couple of months where they've dropped down 5,000. I need to get fine. Yeah, I'm not saying that. But we do sometimes go at it like a bull in a china shop sometimes. And what we need to do is we need to we're changing habits, or that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to change, including our lifetime, new healthier habits that are going to be a staple, So to do that, we do need to find pockets of time. We do need to adjust, let our bodies adapt to it sometimes, going from one level of movement to another. I've had a couple of clients actually in the last 6 weeks where they're getting better, weather's nicer, they're not the most confident at going outside, but they've really pushed themselves. And they've probably just pushed themselves a little bit too much. And I don't want to sit here like I'm trying to, pour water on someone's fire. I'm genuinely not. But I've had a couple of clients recently that have just done a bit too much. And the knock-on effect of doing a little bit too much is now they've injured the knee or the knee's flared up. And now they've gone from doing this to trying to do this, and now for a few weeks they're having to do this. Whereas if they'd done this, and then in a couple of weeks done this, and then a couple of weeks later done this, and then 2 weeks after that done this, and then 2 weeks later done this, they'd still be doing this now. Yeah, do you see what I mean? Let me scan up. I love days where it's less, just having a boost before my holiday. Sarah, honestly, I'm not like, I always say this, I'm not trying to piss on you chicks. I'm seriously not. I just think, it's good advice for a lot of people. And like I say, I'm not actually concerned about you going and doing it because, like I say, you're at a totally different part of your journey in terms of physically being able to do 10,000 steps a day. I know you can because you do a very good amount of exercise. You've also lost a very good amount of weight this year. So, like I say, you're in a slightly different position to some people. But it's always good to use certain comments that as an example. Plus, my training's been on hold, so last week was a bit pants playing catch up this week. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. And I always say, we should never try and again, I don't want to feel like I piss on shit. We should never feel like we're overcompensating a little bit. So, some people might have had 1,000 calories more than they wanted last week. So this week they're going to have 2,000 less and this and the other. And you kind of play and chase your tail all the time. Movement is a little bit different. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say food, we should try and be quite stable with our food. So if your calorie allowance is 14,000 calories a week, and just for whatever reason you end up having 16,000, a lot of people then the following week will try and eat 12,000. Right? Well, if I've had 40, and I get what you're trying to do, you're trying to bring the averages up, but then by over restricting yourself, the following week, that over restriction can kick in and then cause overeating, and you just end up in this vicious circle. Like I say, movement is a little bit different because, especially if we do move quite a bit and our fitness levels are pretty decent, I do it at times, especially if I've got a week or two before going on holiday. I'll put a bit extra. Before we went to Benidorm, me and Rach were training 7 days a week. Now, again, I have highlighted, too much of a good thing become a bad thing because I felt the last week or two I've been a bit lethargic in the gym, and I think I'm maybe overdoing it a little bit. But it's good that I'm recognizing that because then I can pull it back in when I need to. Does that kind of make sense? Let me scan on. Not seen you in a long time. You're looking good, Garja. That's very kind of you to say. There's a lot of compliments coming my way at the moment on this app, and I'm very, very thankful for them. Thank you. I got really into it and hyper focused on doing healthy eating, started losing weight, and then it just stopped. Right. So Mag Stewart there is a classic example of what I'm talking about. Now, Mags might have gone into this, like I say, if she's got ADHD and she gets hyper focused on things, I think a lot of people do this. Right? I think a lot of people, they get very much like, you get obsessed. You get very obsessive with things, and it's just all or nothing. Unfortunately, when you're all, that's only going to have a certain shelf life. And this is what I'm trying to say. Too many people go at weight loss like a bull in a china shop for different reasons, right? But you just burn yourself out way too quickly, right? And then, as Mags has said there, things have stopped. Things have stopped because you can't keep up with the all approach. So you are all or nothing. Now you're doing nothing. Now you might be there going, no, I'm not there. I am doing. You're not. You might think you are. You might have convinced yourself you are. You're certainly not doing anywhere near what you were doing, because if you were, you'd be still getting the results. So again, and sometimes people do this not because of ADHD or other mental health disorders. I think it's just a pattern we've been led into with weight loss. We think you have to be perfect. You have to strive for this. Like, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. You have to do loads of exercise. We've sort of got, if I stopped 100 random people in the street and said, "Hiya, can you tell me what you need? What do you need to do to lose weight? Tell me." Well, loads of people go, "Well, you need to stop eating rubbish." Define rubbish, like chocolate and crisps. You need to stop eating those. Yeah. Do you? Right, okay. What else do you need to do? You need to start exercising. What? Like, that's the be all and end all. Stop eating rubbish and exercising. And that's how and that's not their fault they're saying that. This is kind of what we've been led to believe over the years. How many of you guys pick up chocolate and go, "That makes me fat"? Right? How many of you guys pick up broccoli and go, "That makes you fat"? Because they both contain calories. Yes, one's calorie dense and one isn't. But if you burn 2,000 calories in a day and you eat 2,500 calories of chocolate, or you eat 2,500 calories of broccoli, you'll get fat off both of them, right? Now, don't get me wrong, it's a lot easier to eat 2,500 calories of chocolate. Definitely a lot harder to eat 2,500 calories of broccoli, but that's what makes you fat, is calories. Nothing else. Not the types of food you're eating, not what's going on in your body at the moment, just calories in, calories out. Now, obviously, if you have more calorie dense foods than more nutritionally dense foods, because nutritionally dense foods, not all, but most nutritionally dense foods tend to be lower calories, or lower in calories. If you have more calorie dense foods, there's a chance you're going to go into a calorie surplus and you are going to gain weight. But it's not the particular foods that are making you, fat. Really, really isn't, I had some licorice all sorts today, weighed and logged, and they were lovely, guilt-free. Brilliant. And everything we should eat should be guilt-free. It doesn't matter if you're having a Big Mac, some licorice all sorts, or a Werther's Original that I've just had to walk the dogs. We have a little pot of Werther's Originals by the door. It's our little sweet fix. They're 22 calories. I just suck them, so they last ages. They can last me a dog walk 25 minutes, right, for 22 calories, and they're just lovely. So, but it goes in my mouth, right? And we tend to have one a night when we walk the dog. It's our little sweet treat after tea. We always used to be quite into sweet stuff after tea, like it might have just been a bowl of corn or something, 160 odd calories. Now we don't. We just have our tea. Weekends, we'll have a bit of a dessert afterwards. But now during the week, we just have our tea and then we have a Werther's Original walking the dogs. I know it might sound pathetic, or it might be like, well, that's a bit rubbish, isn't it, for your sweet? It's 22 calories. And if you just sit it there inside of your mouth and it just sort of melts and dissolves as you go along, it just gives you a nice little sweet treat for hardly any calories, And absolutely no guilt, Hang on, let's have a look. A PT on TikTok today, on a live today, that halal chicken has less protein. Does it? Honestly, yeah. The way an animal is slaughtered does not make a difference to how much protein is in the flesh of that animal. Right? That it really, really doesn't. So, it is amazing. It is amazing. That person's either possibly racist or, do you know what? It is amazing. Obviously, maybe we are a bit naive to it or blind to it in a way, but the amount of, like, I posted like some chicken skewers from Farm Foods last week or the week before, and like some woman said, could you give me a non-halal alternative to this? And I'm literally like that's just, well, it's racist, isn't it, at the end of the day. She's not, like, I guarantee she's not eating that because she doesn't agree with the way the chicken's killed. Because if you eat chicken, I am telling you now, if you eat chicken in certain restaurants, the way certain animals are slaughtered, or kept, right? You're not. You're telling me you are, if that same one goes, no, I only eat Goosner corn-fed such and such a chicken, and that's all I'll eat. And when I go to every single restaurant, every single cafe, I ask if it's that type of chicken. If it's not, I won't eat it. Nonsense. Absolute garbage. So I'm like, what is the difference whether it's halal or not? Like, because the only difference is the way it's slaughtered. And if you genuinely don't agree with it, well, all right. But I'm like, really? It's the connotations of what halal means. I'm telling you that now. And then I questioned some woman on it, right, a bit ago. And she was like, oh, so I'm automatically racist because this, and this. I said, no, love, I've scanned through your profile pictures and what you post. And you've had your profile picture as over the last, there's several different profile pictures over the last 2 years. That's how I know you're racist. The comment just cements it. But it is. It's absolutely embarrassing. Anyway, let's not get into politics. Don't mention politics, Neil. Don't mention politics or religion or why Apple's better than Android. Don't do it because you'll always upset people. Neil, do you weigh your chicken before you cook it or after? As it surely will be lighter when you've cooked it. Absolutely. So I just weigh everything raw. Just pick one or the other, right? There's always this debate. Do you weigh things raw or do you weigh things cooked, right? I just pick raw because it's easy. It's dead easy. When I get a pack of chicken, like I bought a pack of mini chicken breast fillets today, 400 grams on the packet, right? Yeah, I know if I have half the packet, it's 200 grams. The issue with weighing stuff raw, cooked is, if you're tracking stuff cooked, you have to go off what an app classes as cooked chicken, right? So let's say, what I mean by that is, right, as Anna's just said there, as you cook something, chicken, it gets lighter because you cook some of the juices out of it. So if I take a 200-gram raw chicken breast, right, and I roast that for 15 minutes, yeah, it should be just about cooked, but it's still going to be pretty succulent and juicy. So that 200-gram piece of chicken will probably weigh, I don't know, 160 grams, maybe 170 grams, right? If you're a heathen in the kitchen and you cook that one chicken breast for 25 minutes, it's now probably going to weigh 140 grams. If you're even more of a heathen than that and forget about that chicken, so you basically cremate it, that 200-gram chicken breast might weigh 110 grams, right? Now, when you go into NutriCheck and you put in cooked chicken, it doesn't say cooked chicken, cooked properly, nice, moist and juicy, cooked chicken, little bit dry, cooked chicken like a doorstop. It doesn't give you that option. So the chances of being inaccurate are massive. 200 grams of raw chicken is always going to be 200 grams of raw chicken, whether it's breast, whatever. 200 grams of chicken breast is 200 grams of chicken breast. Whether you cook it properly or you cook it for 14 hours and cremate it, it's 200 grams of raw chicken. The more you cremate a piece of meat, it might take out some of the nutritional value. It doesn't lower the calories, right? So yeah, you're just better off cooking everything raw. The only thing I ever track cooked are things that are pre-cooked, like ham, or if you bought packed chicken. You cook chicken, like sliced chicken to go in a butty, or something like that, or a tin of tuna, or, but yeah, anything. Potatoes raw, right? Because 200 grams of raw potatoes, 200 grams of raw potato. Again, with pasta. Pasta's the opposite. When you cook meat, it gets lighter because you're taking moisture out of it. When you cook pasta, it gets heavier because you're adding moisture into it. I've had spaghetti tonight and I actually overcooked it slightly. Right? I like my spaghetti al dente, and it was just past that. Right? Just past that. Right? So if you take 100 grams of dry spaghetti, it's 350 calories. If you cook it al dente, it should weigh about 170 grams. So it should soak up 70 grams of water, right? And that should take about 6 to 7 minutes, right, in a pan of boiling water. If you cook it for 10 minutes, it will soak up more water. So 100 grams of dry pasta could end up being 200 grams if you cook it a bit longer than that, right? Some people will absolutely cook it till it's like a floppy mess. It could weigh 230 grams, right? So, it's literally like, again, when you go into NutriCheck and put in cooked pasta, it doesn't say cooked al dente, cooked a bit past al dente, or cooked by an absolute heathen that boils pasta for 2 hours, right? It doesn't give you those options. It just says cooked pasta. And so you can end up, again, really inaccurate. Whereas 100 grams of dry pasta, irrelevant of shape, whether it's penne, spaghetti, tagliatelle, whatever else there is, fusilli, farfalle, it doesn't matter what the shape is, it's about 340 calories, right? So you're going to be a lot more accurate tracking things, raw. I don't understand how you get how much protein is in stuff. Track the calories. Use a calorie tracking app. It'll tell you. So you use something like NutriCheck and scan a chicken breast. It will tell you how much protein's in there, how much carbs are in there, how much fat, sugar, fiber. It does all the hard work for you, right? It does all the hard work for you. Or you can read any packet, any nutritional label. I'm trying to look around here. I've actually got no empty packets on my desk whatsoever. I've got one of these Perform Hydrate drinks, but I don't think where's the nutritional breakdown? Right, didn't I? It just tells you calories and carbs in this because there's no protein or fiber. So I haven't really got but yeah, if you look at a nutritional label, it literally tells you 100 grams of chicken, carbs, fats. It'll break down the fat into saturated fat as well, so how much of the fat is mono and polyunsaturated or how much of it is saturated. It will show you the carbs and how much of those carbs are sugars. It will show you fiber, it will show you protein, and it will show you salt. Those are the sort of minimum requirements on a nutritional label. How do you need to check sugars? I tried to add more veg and it sent my sugar over to 112%, yet most was natural sugars. Hard to tell if this is still bad. Look, I'll be honest with you. I don't track macros. I really don't track macros, right? And I don't really look at I look at the end of the week. I don't look daily. I tend to have a little look at the end of the week, and that is more for health than anything. And yes, your natural sugars, your lactose, your fructose. If you eat a lot of fruit, certain veggies as well. If you drink a bit of milk, your natural sugars are gonna be quite high. Do we still need to watch our natural sugars? Yes. Are natural sugars as detrimental to our health as free sugars? Absolutely not. And in turn with that, what you'll find with any foods that you eat that contain natural sugars, they will also contain a large amount of nutrition alongside it, which is just worth the trade-off. So you might eat an orange, and an orange will have X amount of natural sugars in there, fructose, and be, oh God, it's full of sugar. It's natural sugar, it's fructose, it's broken down in the liver. It doesn't, some woman commented this week on one of my posts saying, it was one of that yogurt drink I put on. You shouldn't go near them, they're full of sugar. I was like, they're not full of sugar. I said there's 15 grams of sugar in a 330ml bottle, which is 5%. So 95% of that product isn't sugar, just 5% is. And it's no added sugars. There's no free sugars added to it. The only sugar in there is natural. Then she commented, well, if that was the case, milk could be full of sugar. It is. It isn't full of sugar, but I said this is 330ml of yogurt, but it actually contains milk concentrate in there to bump the protein up. So that actually brings in a bit more lactose than not having that milk concentrate in. But I basically said 330ml glass of semi-skim milk has about 12 grams of sugar. This has 15 grams because of that milk concentrate. So, but neither of them are full of sugar. And then said, well, whatever the sugar is, I don't want to spike my blood sugar, so I won't be having it. I was like, no, it won't spike your blood sugars. Lactose is low glycemic, right? So the only thing that spikes blood sugars is high glycemic food. And that is high glycemic carbs. And that is generally down to not just the fact that you're having high glycemic carbs, it's what are you pairing those with, and are you carb loading? So raising blood sugars, and then I was going to get into the old, are you diabetic? And I looked at her profile picture. She was young. I'm not saying just because you're young doesn't mean you are diabetic. And she could have come back and gone, yeah, I'm type 1. She could have come back and said she was type 2. I don't know. But normally, if people are diabetic, they'll mention it straight away. They'll go, oh, I don't eat those because they're high in sugar and I'm diabetic. And I'll literally go, I fully understand why you watch your sugars being diabetic, but the sugar in that is lactose. It's low glycemic. Not only will a low glycemic sugar not spike your blood sugars, it also contains a very high amount of protein, which massively slows down the digestion and energy release from the food anyway. So you're all good. Will it raise your blood sugars? Yeah. Even being diabetic, that's not an issue whatsoever. Type 2 they were. It's not an issue if you're type 1. You just have to watch your amount of insulin that you inject to bring them back down again. But it will raise them, but it won't spike them, and it won't take them to a dangerous level, and it won't crash them either. So you're all good, right? But yeah, a lot of people are very, as Nikki said there, if you're a fit, healthy person, you've got no issues with blood sugars whatsoever. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about consuming natural sugars. They won't. And like I say, the benefits that go along with them, like vitamins, minerals, fiber, that tends to come along with natural sugar, fructose, And then lactose, minerals like calcium and magnesium in milk and protein that goes alongside it. The benefits massively outweigh anything that might be slightly negative. It is frustrating that, a nutritional label will break down carbs and then break down the sugars. So it's X amount of carbs, and this product's got 20 grams of carbs in it, and 5 grams of those carbs are from sugars, right? It is frustrating that nutritional labels don't differentiate natural sugars from free added sugars, but we just need to use our own common sense. So if you have one of those yogurt drinks, anything that says on the label, no added sugar. So any yogurt drink, any protein pudding, anything like that, if it says no added sugar, the sugar that's in that product is just a naturally occurring sugar that's in dairy, obviously, if it's a yogurt drink or something like that, right? Likewise, fruit juice, no added sugar, right? Fruit juices are quite high in sugar, but it is fructose. And again, they're not as detrimental to health. I mean, free sugars aren't they? It's all about overconsumption. It is frustrating though, like on a traffic light system, it just says red for sugar, even though it's lactose. And don't get me wrong, you do need to watch your total sugars. You can, if you consume too much fructose, you can end up with a non-alcoholic fatty liver, things like that. But generally, like, you would have to eat a lot, right? But I try and stick to 90 grams of sugar a day. That is the RDA for an adult. That is kind of my benchmark, right? So 90 grams of sugar, so 9 times 7, 630. So at the end of the week, I'll go on to NutriCheck and I'll click on, on my week view, and then I'll click on sugar. And to be honest with you, because I train a lot, I don't mind having a bit more than anything under 700 for me. I'm not too 100 grams of sugar a day. I'm not too bothered about, and whether it's a free sugar or whether it's, for me personally, I don't eat a lot of free sugars, a bit more at the weekend. So I know overall from my diet where the sugar's sort of coming from. But I'm just on my NutriCheck now for last week. I had a very sugary weekend, right? I know I did. So if you're on NutriCheck, I know you can't see it too well, but all these, if you're in your week view, go through all your tabs at the top. So, for example, it's recommended 90 grams of sugar a day. Again, I know you can't see it. I had 639 grams of sugar last week. So I was just slightly over the RDA for an average adult, right? So, and that was like literally Monday I had 53 grams of sugar. Tuesday I had 97. Wednesday I had 74. Thursday I had 72. Friday I had 57. And then Saturday I had 160. And Sunday I had 122. So, like I said, I had quite a high sugary weekend. But overall, I'm 9 grams of sugar over my RDA. And I don't have any issues with blood sugars, so I don't need to worry about it. The week before, I had 425 grams of sugar. So I was 205 under for that week. The week before that, I had 684. So I was like 50 over. The week before that, I had 600. So I'm 30 under. So as you can see there, the week before that, I had 468. The week before that, I had 629, so bang on the money for RDA. Week before that, 624, bang on the money for RDA. The week before that, 581. The week before that, 552. So as you can see there, out of the last 10 weeks, I think I've had 2 where I've been over my sugars. The rest I've been under, and some quite a bit under. So for me, it's just, I don't really care whether I have free sugar, added sugar, natural sugars. My overall diet, I don't overconsume it. Do I have days like Saturday where I had 160 grams of sugar? Yeah. But overall, it's all about averages. It's all about averages, So I just wouldn't, nothing's bad, Nikki. The only thing that's bad is ever overconsumption. And you just should know from your overall diet. If your sugar is saying, and again, it depends what your macros are set on NutriCheck. I just wouldn't worry about it. Look at RDAs. RDAs are a good thing to look at. 30 grams a day for fibre, 6 grams a day for salt, taken with a pinch of salt, all of them, but 90 grams a day for total sugars. They're a good benchmark to look at. They are. Okay, how do you lose weight on a very low budget after all the really high bills? I mean, like, Jules, I'm going to ask you a question now, and you don't need to answer it. You can just tell me how much weight. You don't need to tell me what your actual weight is. How much weight have you got to lose? Because I'm telling you now, depending on what you currently weigh, losing weight is a lot cheaper than being overweight. So you can lose weight by, and I get this question, and I don't want to be rude, and I know it can be really, really triggering, but we seem to use these boundaries. When I used to be 37 stone, Jules, so that's why I can talk like this. I know how much it costs to maintain a frame of 37 stone. And I do get people who use this, people might go, well, yeah, but calorie dense, unhealthy food is cheap. Yeah, but you're still eating a lot of it if you're 25 stone. Like, you don't just get to 25 stone because you're eating 2,000 calories a day. How much, if someone's 25 stone and they do 5,000 steps a day, they're eating 4,000 calories a day. And even if they're eating 4,000 calories a day of, calorie dense foods, like cheap calorie dense foods, they're still spending a decent amount of money on food, Now, in terms of, I'm obviously female, 5'8" and 12 stone. Right, well, you're not overweight then. So you can lose, you just need to, if you're 5'8" and 12 stone, if you want to lose weight, you just need to, obviously, whatever your budget, you lose weight through cutting calories. So, you obviously don't overeat calories because you're 12 stone and 5'8". If you want to save money, right, cut your calories a little bit. You'll spend less on food, and that I get a lot of people that are very obese, right, and they'll come to me and go, "I can't afford to lose weight." Because now, don't get me wrong, I'm not. And this is what I always say to people. And again, I know it can be quite triggering. I'm not trying to trigger people. I'm trying to trigger people, but in the right way. What we don't look at, and this is something I did do. I spoke about this before. Your food bill isn't what you spend at the supermarket. Your food bill is every single penny you spend on stuff that goes in here. And when you lose weight and you start buying more fruit and more veggies and more protein from the supermarket, right, your supermarket bill will go up, right? But what will go down, right? What will go down will your overall food spend. So many of us spend so much money. We might go, well, I only spend 50 quid a week on shopping. How much do you spend on Just Eat? How much do you spend on takeaways? How much do you spend? You might spend 50 quid once a week doing what you might class as your big shop. How many times do you nip into your local Nisa or your McCall's or your Premier and just grab a pizza or a bar of chocolate or something? Every single thing that goes in here, right, is what your food spend is. And I'm telling you now, it costs a lot of money to be overweight. It costs more money to be overweight than it does to lose weight in terms of overall food spend, Right, let me stand up. But maybe circumstances change. I have less money now than I did 2 to 3 years ago. Well, even 6 months ago, my money has dropped. Yeah, circumstances can change. Look, I can only talk on these lives in a very generic fashion. I can't talk to individual circumstances. But again, can we, in this day and age, can we still eat healthier and do things cost effective? Of course we can. I went to, what was it? Flipping Farm Foods. I couldn't believe how cheap Farm Foods was, right? But still, some of the things, I don't know if I put this in the video, but things that I noticed in Farm Foods was like Idaho and mash, which I have, in winter, we probably have a couple of packets of that a month. It was 99p. And I'm like, that is an absolute bargain. But it isn't a bargain compared to Spuds. right? Because Idaho and Mash will, for 99p, will do me and Rachel, right, for one meal, just about. Whereas for a quid, I could buy 750 grams of spuds that will do 1.5 meals or even 2 meals, right? So, convenience food can be quite expensive. It can, but frozen, you can get frozen meat now, frozen veggies, frozen fruit. It's miles cheaper than buying fresh. There's no food waste. And, whatever happens, people that complain about not having, they can still find 20, 30, 40 quid for a takeaway once or twice a week. So we just have to be a bit honest with ourselves. Now, like I say, Jules there is in a slightly different situation, so it's Jules isn't overweight. She actually put the rest is fine. It's the belly. And a lot of people whinge about belly fat. You've got to have some fat somewhere, right? And if it sits on your belly, and if you want to reduce your belly fat, you just you can't spot target fat loss. So you just need to go into a calorie deficit. And if you're on a budget and you're not overweight, you're going to save yourself money anyway because you're already not overeating. So you just eat a little bit less. Yeah. How do we work out our goal weight? How do we determine if we are overweight or not? There's a few different things you can look at. Something I do for my one-to-one clients is, they ask me about goal weight. There's a few things you need to take into account when it comes to goal weight. Some people just use the BMI scale, but the BMI scale is a bit outdated. When I'm determining goal weight for clients, I look at things like age, circumstance, job, where they've come from. All these things need to be factored in because your goal weight is not a weight. You can diet down to any weight you wanted to. I could diet down to 11 stone if I wanted to, right? What your goal weight needs to be is your maintainable weight. It's the weight that you can comfortably sit at, right? And, if I dieted down to 11 stone, could I? No, I would find it would be an absolute chore to diet down to 11 stone. And it would be even harder, I dieted down to 11 stone. And it'd be even harder to maintain it because for me to control my appetite enough to constantly eat enough calories to be 11 stone, it just wouldn't work for me, I think you have to question how much time you have on your hands to think about food. If you're busy, I don't think you have food on your mind as much. 100%. I say this all the time. So many people use that. My life, I've just got too much on at the moment to lose weight. Being busy and having loads on is a bonus, not a minus. I'm like, this is when you should be losing weight then, because if you're so busy in life, right, then that should take. How many of you guys used to have a mega busy day at work and it gets like 2:30 and you've not even eaten? I've not even eaten yet. Yeah, because being busy distracts you from food. You will tend to find a lot of people. I don't want to tar people with the same brush. I don't want to stereotype here. This was certainly the case for me. I had loads of time on my hands. I always made out I didn't. I had loads of free time. You'll tend to find a lot of people that overeat at night time that have time at night time to think about food. If you're in a lucky situation where you can get on the sofa at 7:30 at night time and sit there for 3 hours, you've got a lot of time on your hands. Some people just do not have that luxury. Nights for me, I'm sat in here working, doing the live for you guys, chatting away, right? Till what? Going to be, I know I said I was coming off at 8:45, but Rachel hasn't got into. I'm watching, mate. She's not got in bed yet. She's still doing stuff. So, I'm busy. Some people will have been sat on the sofa from 7, it'll be nearly 2 hours in on the sofa, watching me, watched Emmerdale, watched Thingy. I ain't got time for that. I literally sat down at 6:05. I'd eaten and had my tea by 20 to 7, let that settle. Then I've took the dogs out for half an hour. Then I've come back. I've done a few bits around the house. Then I've got in here and done a live. Right? Being busy is an absolute powerhouse. Is an absolute powerhouse. It really, really is. And I know certain topics that we talk about, a lot of people don't want to hear it. But sometimes we just have to be a little bit honest, and don't get me wrong, things like finances, things like time, it is very triggering for people, but a lot of people that get triggered is because they kind of know the truth in a way, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to admit it, but he's kind of right, and I get it. I hate being top, but when we think about it, again, if I went into anyone's bank account that's overweight and actually added up everything they spent on food over a week, that chocolate bar, like say from the corner shop, takeaways here and there, chippy tea that you pay for with cash that you don't think about. On top of that, I reckon if you added all that up and then added up what a healthy shop would be for the week, that's going to be lower calorie, more calorie control, more protein, and one takeaway a week, one would be less. The healthiest shop with the one takeaway a week would be less than this, I love being busy. I never think of food. Yeah, it is. It is a power. It is a power. Whereas, because we have to be honest with ourselves. In the grand scheme of things, how much time do you actually have to dedicate to weight loss? How much individual time do you need? What have I done today that's took time out of my day that was specifically for my weight loss journey? And the only thing I've done is track my calories. Yeah, I've been to the gym. I don't do that for weight loss. I do it for my mental and physical health. Is it an indirect help to weight loss? A little bit, yes, but that's not to. I don't exercise for weight loss. I exercise, when I get to a weight that I'm happy with, I'll still exercise every day. So that's not counting. Have I got my steps in? Yeah. Have I done that? Combination of the gym and walking the dogs. Whether I'm fat or not, I've got to walk the dogs twice a day. So I'll get my steps in. It's part of life. I've cooked food. I've made dinner and I've made my tea. Again, whether I'm fat or not, I'm cooking twice a day. So I'm not dedicating any more time for that. Do you still cook? Yeah. Got to cook whether you're trying to lose weight or not. The only thing that I possibly would do this, but not ever. If I get to my maintainable weight and I feel I've got enough control over my calories and I kind of understand portion control, I might stop tracking my calories. Me tracking calories takes 3 or 4 minutes a day out of my day. That's it. Dedicate time to tracking my own calories. I'm always in my app because I'm doing stuff for like Instagram meals or recipes and this, that, and the other. But actual tracking my calories for me, 3 or 4 minutes a day maximum. That's it. Nothing else I do on a day-to-day basis is it all has an indirect combination effect for my weight loss journey. But I don't do it. I don't walk the dogs twice a day. I go, I need to walk the dogs to lose weight. I need to walk the dogs. I need to walk the dogs. The knock-on effect of me walking the dogs is I get steps in. Steps does burn calories, right? But again, I'd walk the dogs twice a day, whether I was losing weight or not. Go to the gym whether I was losing weight or not. I'd eat a high-protein diet whether I'm losing weight or not. The only thing that possibly might change is me tracking calories. That's it. So we have to be a little bit honest with ourselves with that. I prep 12 days of mixed fresh veg every time in the freezer, but I don't eat meat, only fish, so that becomes expensive. Yeah, okay. Like I said, there's always going to be certain ways in which we eat, certain ways in which we want to eat that are going to be more expensive than others. But when we look at fish, frozen fish is miles cheaper than fresh fish, right? And likewise, if you added up 2-3 meals a day, 2 meals a day where fish is included, again, it's probably all going to be cheaper than if someone's 20 stone, even if they're eating cheap pizzas. It's so, and we can get cheaper cuts of fish, just like you can get cheaper cuts of meat. Chicken breast is great, but you can go skinless chicken thighs, a little bit more calories, but they're not terrible. Again, you've got frozen chicken breast pieces as well. It's much cheaper than fresh chicken breast pieces. So yeah, look, the way we decide to eat, people do this carnivore diet. Carnivore diet is stupidly expensive. And if people sort of said, I can't afford to eat 2 on the bone ribeyes a day and a dozen eggs, I get that. Because if I go to my local butcher's and I get a really nice piece of steak, it's 12, 15 quid. Times 2, that's £30, right? Add a good dozen of eggs in there, good quality eggs, you're at 35 quid a day. Right? Now that you times that by, that's like nearly £1,000 a month. Right? That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. I couldn't afford to eat like that. But you don't need to eat like that to lose weight. Yeah. I've done quite a lot of things this year where I have been watching the pennies a little bit. I spend a lot of money on food, right? Because I have been in the past, just chuck it in the trolley and get at it, and this, that, and the other. I've made a switch up. I eat loads more frozen fruit now than I do fresh. It saves me a fortune. I was spending £5 a day sometimes on fresh fruit, whereas now I spend about £10 a week on frozen fruit, and it lasts me. And there's no waste with it. I've started using that protein Greek yogurt from Aldi. It's exactly the same as authentic Greek yogurt, right? It doesn't really have much more protein in it, but it's 50p a tub cheaper, right? And I eat 3 of them a week. It's £1.50 a week, right? That's £6 a month. I'm going to save myself £80 a year there, So if you could knock yourself, I don't know, £30-40 a week off your shopping bill, which you can do, you've just got to. It's just about balance. It is just about balance. Now, I think is why Mounjaro is so popular. We have to work on self-discipline. Yeah, you're always going to have to do that for a weight loss journey. And yeah, Mounjaro, if you're dosing your Mounjaro right, you still have to work on self-discipline. You've just got a little helping hand there to help you with your willpower. If you're overdosing Mounjaro, then that is you don't need to do any outside work. The drugs will do that. Say the drugs don't work. They do. If you overdose Mounjaro, you will be very suppressed in terms of appetite. You won't eat a lot of food. You will lose a lot of weight, but eventually you'll stop using it and you won't have taught yourself anything new. And then you go back to old habits. I was on with a client the other day and his mate was doing Mounjaro, and he's done this year, he's lost 7 stone on MJ in 7 months. Right? He started off at 24 stone. He's down to 17 stone. He's 6'2". He stopped taking it, and he's gained £15 in a month. He's put fit. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of that will be just an increase in food weight, water retention from eating a bit more. It's not all fat gain, but he's literally £15. He's lost 7. He's lost a stone a month, and he's put 15 back on. But will all that be water weight, food weight, water retention from eating a bit more? No. He's straight away just gone into overeating mode, and that's because he's gone at it too hard with his MJ. Right, I've got to go. I said I was going early. I never go early, do I? It's been a good live tonight, actually. There's been some really good sort of questions coming in and some good discussions. And, I am always very self-conscious about the way I answer certain questions. And I'll tell you why. I say this all the time. Whenever I give a response to something, I always think if 37 Stone Neil asked that question and 37 Stone Neil was hearing it. And sometimes, but I've also got to be honest with myself, 37 Stone Neil was vulnerable. He did struggle with his mental health, but sometimes, 37 Stone Neil might not have wanted to hear the truth, but sometimes he needed to hear the truth. So I've also got to have a bit of a reality check with that as well, because sometimes we can be too, we tread on eggshells too much at times. Sometimes we've got to be a bit more direct, Right, so you love people. What time are we on tomorrow? Callum, we are on 8:30 a.m, mate. So we're on in the morning, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and then we will be on Weight Loss Coaching Live, which I have written down. I've got it. Fight or flight. I've got it. I knew I'd written it down last week. Tomorrow's Weight Loss Coaching Live. This is my desk, ladies and gentlemen. This is how organised, disorganised I am. Terrible. It's all here. Everything I need is here. Just not necessarily in the neatest order in the world. Anyway, tomorrow's Weight Loss Coaching Live is fight or flight, emotional response. The fight or flight is triggered all the time on a weight loss journey. And, unfortunately, too many of us choose flight. We're going to discuss that and try and make it that you choose fight more. That is tomorrow's Weight Loss Coaching Live. If you would like to watch tomorrow's Weight Loss Coaching Live, you just need to be part of my community. And you can be part of my community by subscribing to my community. It's not a subscription for Facebook or TikTok, or I don't think I have a subscription for YouTube. If you want to subscribe to any of those, that would be amazing. I get a little bit. TikTok's a bit rubbish, if I'm being honest with you. I think Facebook's like £1 a month or something like that. It's just a little support for me. But I have an online community. We have a private Facebook group. We have a WhatsApp group. I do weight loss coaching lives. We do Zoom sessions that's just for the community. And if you would like to be part of that, TikTok profile, Facebook page, YouTube page, click on my community link. Use code WELCOME at checkout. Your first month's a £5. So you can come in and have a look. It's £5. Right? If after a few weeks, it's not for me, you can just cancel it. There's no contract. You can cancel whenever you want to. As part of signing up to my community, you do get a full calorie breakdown. So if you're interested in losing a bit of weight and you're a bit unsure about what your calories should be, join the community. I'll do your full calorie breakdown, and it's bang on. It'll be as good a breakdown calorie calculation as you're ever going to get. Right? So at least you get that for your £5. So come get signed up to the TikTok profile. Click on my link tree. So it says like linktr.ee/real loss boss. It's also on Facebook. It's also on YouTube. Click on that link. It's in my Instagram profile. Click on that link. Click on community. If you feel like you need a bit more help than that, then come join my one-to-one plan. It's half price to sign up to pay monthly at the moment. £15 will get you on board one-to-one. Big saving is signing up yearly. You're getting a full 12 months weight loss coaching at the moment for £260. One-off payment, £260 a month, done. And you'll be covered until next August. Right? I might even cover you till the end of next August if you sign up to the one-to-one. Right? Yearly. I might even give you 13 months for 12 because I'm a nice guy. Right? And I'm going on holiday in 4 weeks and I could do with topping my wallet up. So there you go. So I'll always give you a little bit back. I always will. You guys know that, especially you guys that have been on plan with me. I always try and give you guys a little bit back the best I can. Anyway, that's me. I'm out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night, whatever you are doing. I will be back tomorrow morning. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, half 8 in the morning for everybody. 8:30 till about 9:30. And then, I did say last week, do you want me to jump on the live at 11 or do you want me to do the live at 10? It doesn't make a difference to me tomorrow. What would you prefer? Should I put a poll? I can't. It's a bit late to do a poll, isn't it? All right, I'm going to do 10 o'clock. I'm going to do 10 a.m. We'll do 10. Well, let's get it done. If you're up for me live at 8:30, 9, we'll have a little half-hour break. Let me go and have my yogurt bowl, and then I'll come in at 10. Callum wants 10. There you go. Right, we'll do 10 o'clock. I think it said 11 in the schedule. I'll put it out there tomorrow, though, in a broadcast. I'll just reiterate that it's 10 a.m. And we'll get the Weight Loss Coaching Live. Fight or Flight, 10 a.m. tomorrow. Lovely, jubbly. Right, TikTok, I'll sign off to you first. Have a great Monday night, whatever you're doing for the rest of your evening. And I will see you, hopefully, if you're free, in the morning, 8:30 a.m. And then same to you guys, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you are doing. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And if you're free in the morning, I'll be back 8:30 a.m. Facebook, YouTube. I'll see you then.